Oh my god, we just did a podcast with SAFIYA. It was so fun. How did you enjoy it?
I loved it. And there is a toe cake right there, and it's making me feel really good things inside.
Guys, go check it out. SoundCloud.com/shanedawsonsucks. Hey, what's up, you guys? Yes, welcome back to another creepy video. Now, today we're going to be talking about Hollywood. Everything about Hollywood looks so beautiful. The red carpets, the fancy dresses, the mansions, the money, the cars. Living in Hollywood is something that almost everybody wants. Being famous is something that many people dream of. And to get there, some people would even cheat, lie, steal, or kill. So today we're going to be talking about some of the scariest Hollywood myths and some of the creepiest Hollywood stories. So let's start with something that is very common in Hollywood: cults. The Jonestown Massacre and the Manson family cult, two of the scariest cults of all time. And do you know what they have in common? That's right. They both started in Los Angeles. Now, this is not a surprise to me. I live in Los Angeles, and the cult mentality is crazy. And I'm not just talking about actual scary cults. I mean, there's a cult of people who love Starbucks, a cult of people who love cupcakes, a cult of people who are obsessed with doing hot yoga every single day at the same time. In LA, people get that cult mentality and they feel like, oh, I have to do this one thing and be with this one group of people to get famous. And sometimes that cult mentality can lead to murder. So first, we're going to talk about the Manson family cult. In 1969, Charles Manson created a family. He brainwashed a bunch of sad people in LA to believe every word he said. And then one night, him and his brainwashed followers went to a woman's house named Sharon Tate, murdered her and her unborn child and 4 of her friends. Now, one of the creepiest parts about that story is the killers took Sharon Tate's blood and wrote "pig" on her front door with it. Now, flash forward to the early 90s. Trent Reznor, the lead singer of a band called 9 Inch Nails, bought the house and converted it into a music studio. The craziest part, he called it Pig Studios. In this picture, you can see him sitting in front of the door that still has "pig" written on it in blood. Now, speaking of cults, the next thing I'm going to talk about is very controversial and I don't want to get killed. So I'm not going to call it a cult, but it definitely shows signs of cultness. That's right. We're going to be talking about Scientology. So Scientology is a religion that was created by a science fiction writer. That's right. The entire religion is based on a book by L. Ron Hubbard, a guy who wrote books like An Alien Affair, The Carnival of Death, and Battlefield Earth. That same guy who wrote all of those science fiction books created a religion. Now, in short, this religion believes that aliens suck onto our bodies and make us sick. I don't want to judge, but what? Anyways, if you want to learn all about Scientology and actually enter the religion, it's going to cost you about $250,000. Now, that's how much it costs you to learn like everything, to get on the high level. Now, I'm sure you guys know all about this stuff because it's been all over the news and it's crazy. One of the craziest things they do is they literally delete you. Like, if you and your family are in the church and for some reason you leave or a family member leaves, that person that leaves is now non-existent. You are not allowed to talk to them. You are not allowed to even say their name. So imagine if you go to church and for some reason you're like, I don't really want to do this anymore. You leave and now your entire family has to pretend that you don't exist. Now, allegedly, if the church starts to feel like maybe you're going to leave or maybe you're doing weird things, it will track you using spies. That's right. They'll follow you around. They'll take pictures of you when you're not looking, and they'll keep everything they get to use as blackmail. And you would think all of this would keep people away. Nope. Here is just a list of a few celebrities that are or have been involved in Scientology. Tom Cruise, Nicole Kidman, Will Smith, Beck, John Travolta, Jerry Seinfeld, and even Brad Pitt. Now, as I'm sure a lot of you guys know, former member Leah Remini has been on kind of a crusade trying to take down the church. She's been trying to expose the church and show how dangerous they are. Now, because of what she's doing, the church is pissed and they're trying to take her down. Well, I was on YouTube recently and I saw a pre-roll ad. That was not an ad at all. It was literally a video probably created by the Church of Scientology, which had Leah's dad talking shit about her. What?
And Leah said, how much is it? I said, it's $1,500. So I turned around and I said, Leah, could you do this for me? She says, yeah, I'll take care of it. What's the doctor's number? What's his name? Leah never did it.
Yeah, Leah literally has exposed them for all the crazy shit they've done, and then they come back and say, you didn't pay your dad's bill. All right, let's take a break from the really creepy stuff for a second and talk about some of the things that literally made my mind bust. We're gonna talk about actors who might not be who you think they are. First, let's talk about Larry the Cable Guy. So Larry the Cable Guy is one of the biggest stand-up comedians of all time. And his whole thing is like, oh, I'm a redneck, white trash guy. And he has a really thick southern accent. I mean, just take a look at a clip.
And I like to help people out, and I was doing it for 3 years. I was sponsoring, I adopted one of them little peckerheads down there, all right?
Well, then he revealed that that accent was fake. Here he is talking in his real voice.
My dad was a backwoods preacher. So my dad had a little bit of southern accent in him. He'd get to going and school became school. And so he had a little bit of that in him.
What? I've only ever known him as like, oh, hey, Larry the Cable Guy. That was a really bad impression. And to hear him just talking normal, bitch, I can't. Now, another person who has a completely different voice than we thought they did was a guy named Gilbert Gottfried. And Gilbert's made an incredible career based on the fact that he has like this annoying voice and he's really funny. I mean, just take a look at his stand-up.
I visited Dr. Kevorkian the other day. And he said, how are you? And I went, fine. I feel great.
Well, then on the Howard Stern show, Howard played a clip of Gilbert calling somebody's voicemail and leaving a message in his normal voice. And it freaked me out.
Yeah, Gary, it's Gilbert.
You're kidding.
I'll probably be there tomorrow, but if you could call me up and just tell me what exactly is going on tomorrow, who's going to be there and everything like that.
My whole childhood is a lie. Now that one is crazy. But this next one, I debated even talking about this because I don't want to look like I'm like age shaming, but I'm just gonna pose a question to you guys. How old do you think the actress Rebel Wilson is? You know Rebel Wilson from the Pitch Perfect movies, who played a college student recently, who is so youthful and young and fun. Do you have your answer yet? Okay. You're wrong. She's 37.
I sometimes have a feeling I can do crystal meth, but then I think, better not.
Yeah.
What? 37? I literally... What? Now listen, I'm not saying that's old. That is not old. But I always thought she was in her 20s, and it turns out pretty much everybody else did too. Now I'm not going to go into the whole story because it's pretty long. But a few years ago, a magazine did an article about her, and they said she was 29. Now Rebel didn't talk about this, she didn't correct them, so she didn't technically lie about her age. Well, then the magazine came back out and said that she lied about her age, and it was this whole big thing, and then Rebel sued them, and I don't know. It was a whole thing. So she says she's fine with us knowing her real age, but it is interesting that I feel like we all thought she was a lot younger than she is. Now, speaking of celebrities hiding things that they don't want us to know about, we're going to be talking about some celebrity deformities. Now listen, I am not trying to make fun of these celebrities, I'm just pointing out that they have been hiding some pretty cool things. Now first, let's talk about Matthew Perry. Now, of course, we all know Matthew Perry as Chandler from one of my favorite shows of all time, Friends. And I'm not kidding. I literally have a pillow of Central Perk. Now, I am the biggest Friends fan of all time, and even I did not notice Chandler Bing has never had the tip of his finger. That's right, he literally is missing the tip of one of his fingers, and I never knew that. Now, it's kind of hard to notice, but if you look at interviews of him where he talks with his hands, you can definitely see it. When he was 3 years old, he had a car door accident, and he lost a pretty good amount of his middle finger. And he doesn't hide it, we just don't really notice it. Speaking of fingers, I have definitely talked about this before, but it's worth bringing up again. I'm not gonna go too into this. All I'm gonna say is, Denzel Washington's finger is everything. Yeah, that's his finger. That's the way it's bent. And nobody talks about it. You can even see it in his Hollywood Walk of Fame where he put his hand imprints into cement. But for some reason, nobody really knows or talks about it, which is really cool. But I mean, damn. Like, how did we miss that? Now, if we're gonna talk about celebrity myths, we definitely have to talk about Taylor Swift. Now, over the years, I've talked about so many myths and theories about her. One of the theories is that she's actually a clone of a woman named Xena. Xena was the high priestess of the Church of Satan. And if you look at them side by side, they're literally the same person. And of course, then there's all the rumors that she's in the Illuminati and that her feud with Kim Kardashian and Kanye West was all planned for promotion for both of them. I mean, she's recently been promoting her new album with a snake, which is what Kim called her. Like, it all seems very planned. But this myth is something that has been around since the beginning of Taylor's career, and everybody in Hollywood talks about it. But for some reason, I've never seen people talk about it online. Now, this is the myth that the reason Taylor Swift's first album really blew up was because her dad bought a shit ton of copies and put them in a warehouse. That's right, the rumor is that her dad was like, listen, the only way to get you out there is to have your first album have a big first week in sales. But nobody really knows who you are yet, so what if I just buy a shit ton of them and keep them in some storage facility? Well, her first album had a big first week, even though she wasn't really that famous yet. And genuinely, people believe that there is some warehouse out there that is filled with like 100,000 Taylor Swift albums. And this is something that everybody talks about. So many people in the music industry, so many agents and managers, and I just heard people over the years talking about this. Like, it's literally real. But once again, I don't want to get sued or killed by the Illuminati, so I don't know, it might be a lie. But either way, it's kind of genius. I mean, I guess snakes are smart. Now, this next myth is something that I've definitely talked about like 3 years ago, but I could not ignore it in a Hollywood Myths video. And that is the myth that in the movie Wizard of Oz, you can see a Munchkin in the background kill themselves. Now, in this clip from the movie, if you look in the background, you can see what looks like a little body hanging by a rope.
We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz.
Now, this is a legend that's been around forever. I remember even my mom talking about it when I was a kid. But supposedly it's not a Munchkin. Supposedly it's a prop or something. I mean, all the filmmakers have said that nobody died on the set, but definitely looks like a Munchkin. Now, one of the biggest myths and legends in Hollywood revolves around the Hollywood sign. Now, the Hollywood sign is iconic. Everybody comes here and wants to get a picture with it. People sneak in all the time and try to climb it. But if you've been living here for a while and you're aware of all the legends, you stay far away. Because the Hollywood sign is incredibly haunted. In 1932, a 24-year-old struggling actress named Peg Entwistle climbed the 45-foot tall letter H of the Hollywood sign and then jumped to her death. Now, supposedly, if you go there at night and you look up, you can see the ghost of Peg standing on top of the H and then jump to her death. Now, that's especially terrifying to me because the vibe in Hollywood is dark. It's not a happy place where people feel like, oh, I'm living my dreams. It's a place where thousands of people come, try to make it as a star, they don't make it, and then a lot of them kill themselves. I mean, literally, just walk into like a Target at 3 p.m. on a weekday, and it is just dark. The amount of out-of-work actors who are incredibly depressed, and a lot of them end up just like Peg. Well, there you guys go. Those are some of the scariest Hollywood myths and theories of all time. If you like this video and you want to see more scary myths, give me a thumbs up so I know. And if you want to see the last scary myth videos I did one on teenage myths and I did one on childhood myths. I'll put a link to a playlist in the top description below. Alright, you guys, I'm gonna go make sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell because I make new videos every day. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Come visit Hollywood sometime. I'll be waiting.